Guys, Revan here, and welcome to, I think, what's gonna be the first comic book Friday. Hopefully that's gonna stay, and this is gonna be the series where I'm gonna be talking about the comic books, the comic book issues or comic book series, and those are gonna be my thoughts. You can kind of say that this is gonna be a review, but also just me talking about it. And if you want to, hop in the conversation, just join in right there in the comment section. Of course we can. And as probably you know from the title, the first comic book that I do want to talk about, and I think it's a great comic book to open the series, is actually a Batman Detective Comics 1000. I took it out of the foil, so again, don't get me like, oh, you don't have it in Protector. Yeah, I do. It's just I took it out for, of course, this whole segment. So this is the version, this is the midnight release version, for like, it's $9.99, but you can get it a lot cheaper. Of course, it's not this like a super expensive variant, which is coming for Detective 1027, because there is a special one right there in Poland thanks to J.G. John. So I have my hands on that. So Detective Comic 1000, a huge milestone, right? Being released since 1938, I believe. There we go, camera is back. Being released since 1938. A huge milestone. Again, in edition number 27, that is the first issue where the Batman was, was shown. That's his first appearance. So that's why the upcoming, that's in November, but on Detective Comics 1027 is so important. But here, again, so many years, almost 80, 90 years, you might say, of a history. 80 is kind of around that history with that comic book. So when I picked it up, I really had a huge expectations. Again, that's how, again, midnight release, because usually, this cover art takes front and the back. In the back, Shazam, right? Just the word. So when I picked it up, again, I had really high hopes, because I'm like, well, this is a huge milestone. This is something that it's definitely going to be great, right? I've waited for it for a couple of weeks. Again, thanks to Multiversum for actually, having it for a really good price. Again, you saw that I got it on my birthday. I've got the opening right there, right? So you can check it out. What else we got from that? So it took me 3 days to finally open this book. It really took me those 3 days, because again, I was reading some Tor stuff, those Tor issues, number 1 to 3, 4, 5, 6 is gonna come to me probably next month. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take my time. I put it on the shelf. Again, the spine is kind of classic, right? You can kind of see only Detective Comics 1000. It's nothing special. Again, a short spine. And when I finally sat down to it, I'm not gonna lie, my hopes were high and the expectations were high. Well, that was a motorbike, and they literally got smacked by this comic book. So we know this is kind of like, Detective Comics 1027. This is a series of, Joker 80th anniversary, I believe. Series of short stories, right? Series of short stories finished with the issue itself. At the very end, there is that issue that normally would be here with the introduction of another villain. And let me tell you, I'm going to be opening those. It starts really nice. I mean, the first is The Longest Case, and when I've read The Longest Case, let me tell you, I was hooked for that story, and honestly, I want the Longest Case to be a proper one. So what is The Longest Case? Again, sorry for the spoilers, but again, we're going to discuss it, right? So The Longest Case is a story that was, they describe it since the beginning of Batman, right? There were some clues here and there about a secret, maybe society. Batman thinks the secret villain. And after many years, he finally gets the answer, right? As it's stated in the comic, it takes him the longest. So it takes him the whole run, the whole 963 issues. That's what the number. Oh no, 73 issues, right? Because he's 27. So again, super cool. I'm gonna be like moving. I'm gonna be showing you. And when he finally finds it, it turns out that here we are. That is a fantastic panel. Welcome to the Guild. So this turns out to be the Guild of the best detectives ever in the world, in the universe, with the files upon files of cases to actually work on. Batman is stunned, and he's happy to join. Of course, we got Detective Chimp, loving the character. We got a few others, and let me tell you, that was a great story. That is a great beginning of the Batman 1000, and that's precisely what I would want from this. So that was a fantastic short story. Then we go to the second one, and let me tell you, we go down quite fast. Of course, during the first one, he reminded himself all the cases that were happening. Then we go to the second one, and the second one, well, it exists. It is there, right? So Batman actually purchasing the guns that murdered his parents. Quite interesting, quite cool, and we now know why Batman has the yellow symbol. That symbol is what should be, or it's beneath the Batman symbol right over here, those guns that killed his parents. Quite a cool take on that. I'm not gonna lie, that's like a nice 5 out of 10 type of story. It feels forced, but it's like not the best here. And then we even move further with the story. Again, the art style of the third story is just, I don't like it. It's an old art style, but the way it's it's drawn, especially like Harley Quinn, it's absolutely bad. And we learned that there was a Brody Newt. That is a goon, and he was hired, right? That was one of the goons that you could have hired as a villain, and many of those villains actually hired him, right? But he was a clumsy. He always was doing bad things, or there's a story where the Riddler reminds, because all those characters keep remind themselves about him. And there's a story that Riddler goes like, well, Batman, you will not know the detonation code. And Batman looks at at the person, at that Kinley, and he tells him the code, which Batman just rushes, uses the code, and saves the day. So you kind of have this, the story of this character that is super clumsy, super doing everything wrong, gets shot, still is alive, still works. And there's a huge plot twist at the end of it. So I don't know if you don't want this plot twist to be revealed to you, skip 20 seconds up ahead, okay? So the plot twist is that actually those are the different members of the Bat family that are actually becoming him. And there we go. That is the fantastic panel where we've got all the characters right over here discussing how they were actually wearing the masks, what happened, how they were doing it. And of course, we've got Damian Wayne wanting to be one as well, but well, it's not really happening. But Damian was like, what, I can be a kid. I can be a kid there. So funny story again, you can have a quick laugh. For a Batman 1000, I would want something different. Then we move on already from panel to panel right over here. That is story number 4. And the story is the Batman design. And here I have mixed feelings. I went through the story. Again, I was not rushing the whole book. I was slowly reading it. And let me tell you, this story in particular, it can resemble, you can feel it, but the way it's done, I feel like, I'm trying not to destroy my microphones then, it is not the best in the world. So you have the usual, right? Batman is being chased by some goons, and he already knows he's taking them to the place that he wants, not where they want him to be. So they go to this huge warehouse, and it turns out that there are a lot of booby traps there planted by Batman in the past. So when he's gonna fight goons, he actually has a way, additional way to win that battle. And of course, they fight him there. He tells Batman, which booby trap to activate, right? Those are little bombs that Batman keeps saying that, well, they're not hurting them. They are not hurting them. Or he's gonna have 5 bones broken, no teeth, but he's gonna be fine. The bill for the doctor, that's gonna kill him, right? Where, you have this really cool moments and really cool scenes in that comic book. You can feel, and the art is a lot better, right? You have a lot of this type of art over here, right? And he is taking out the goons slowly, one by one. You learn that he was learning, he was searching them, he was researching them for a long time. But at the very end, you have their master, like I don't want to say their master, their boss, right? They're the main goon that is like, okay, Batman, I'm gonna kill this and that, the whole harbor is going down. And usually you see something, like Batman doing something, throwing the batarang, so he's dropping, the button that activates the bomb, whatever. And this time you don't see that really. He's standing in front of the guy and he just goes like, well, I'm dead anyway. What do you want to do? And he just grabs, the hand. He hands him and he starts crying. That, which is anticlimactic. Like really, you build up this battle, like you've got this bad fists going, and then it's like really anticlimactic. It's like, all right, I'm gonna just hand you down. I'm gonna cry. Oh no, what have I done? Quite weird, especially knowing the fact that this is the whole warehouse is burning to the ground, and you literally left those goons laying around that. Super weird story, and again, not the best in the world. Then we move on to, let me tell you, I'm just going in, so I can give you a title. A Crime Alley, Return of the Crime Alley. Of course, here you've got the scene, right, that I was talking about. He's crying and he's just handing out. Like, that is super anticlimactic. So, of course, we do have Leslie Tompkins. And one thing that I really don't like, of course, Leslie Tompkins know who the Batman is, right? But one thing I really hate is the fact that she screams that in front of the goons, right? In front of the robbers. She just screams his name. And this is literally the first panel here that says, Bruce, no. And I don't know. I mean, I like the Tompkins as a character. Definitely, it's an interesting character that was in the past with Batman. She knows a lot about him, but the story doesn't make sense. It feels like it was written by a 5-year. I'm sorry. Art is great. Art is good, but the story itself, it's like, as I said, like all those stories besides the first one, and maybe with being the one that I spoiled, kind of the plot twist. Like those are okay; those do fit in the Batman 1000 or Detective Comics 1000. But the current ones, just don't fit. They are lazy writing, and they are just quite bad. Like I would like to see, again in the previous one, Batman punching the guy in the face, and calling the golden, and it'd be like a nice ending. They see the burning building and be like, another night at Gotham, and he goes like, you know it, Jim. Something like that, and then, then getting called that there's something else, like, Two-Face attacking or whatever. So here we got, of course, the crime alley, right? We start off with a few kids actually robbing the local store. They get the masks, and we've got Leslie Tompkins. And of course, we are in the alley where, of course, you can clearly tell Batman parents were killed. And I just don't understand this. Because maybe I'm weird, maybe I'm dumb, maybe, but maybe you can explain that to me a bit better. But if you are a goon, right, if you are a robber, and you see Batman next to someone, would you try to rob that person? I mean, you probably won't. So we clearly have Batman with the Tompkins talking about what happened, and you can clearly tell they are talking. They are standing next to each other. Batman is taller, right? And the goons are like, look over there, you think that's the real Batman? So they are just approaching them. Literally, they are just approaching them to rob them. Guy is pointing out a gun, of course. He's shooting. Batman is taking care of them, hitting them in the face. And the Tompkins just calls out, Bruce, no. She goes down to the guy, and those poor little kids. They just put a gun on you. And you call, like, you reveal the identity of the Batman, right? And that's how this story literally ends. That is the end of the story. Perfect, right? A perfect ending. Then we've got another case, right? We got a heretic, and honestly, this is throwback to beautiful old art, and I did enjoy that story. It's Gotham, how it evolved. We've got Batman, Ra's al Ghul, reminding himself of the training, right? So those really epic moments. Again, as a throwback, great story. As a Batman detective, it works. It fits because of it being a throwback. Then, of course, we move on to I Know story, which beautiful art story. I don't know. Maybe I am weird, but I just so don't get stories like. I like a good short story. Not gonna lie, I kind of laughed at the very end, but it's just pointless to put something like that in such a landmark comic. So here we've got, of course, a story about Penguin, and again, he is still thinking that, oh, who is the Batman? Who is he? So it turns out that he knew, right? And this is narrated by Penguin himself. And here we see an old Bruce, right? We got an old Bruce and Penguin actually telling him that I knew you were the Batman. I knew. And, well, he says, I win. And literally Bruce electrocutes him. And goes like, huh, good visit. Why it's even here, I don't know. But maybe, they ran out of place. Then we got the last crime in Gotham. Of course, we got the Signal and the last crime in Gotham. And this is a short story about the son of a Joker. Which, again, if you have no idea about the son of the Joker, I'd recommend New 52. I believe that was where you could find him. A really 2-page story that doesn't make any sense, and that there's literally no crime anymore in Gotham. Everyone's died. It's great. Waste of pages. Honestly, I would rather had 2-3 short stories that are okay than literally just like, hey, he killed everyone. We can now literally get rid of the bat signal. Yay! It's cool, but it's like 3-page long and it's just bad. So after that, we've got the President, another short story. So you see, like this, there's just a lot of short stories, and here we've got the story focused more on the Robin, which again is for 3 pages, which is not bad. We got, sorry, I went too far. Which again, we see kind of a relationship, Batman and a Robin, which was not that bad. Honestly, it was better than the previous one. I did enjoy that one. It's cool to see their like parent or dad and son type of relationship. I liked it. I did enjoy it. And then of course we go to another story, and this one, well, starts over here, right? We've got Batman's Greatest Case, and let me tell you, I can understand many things, and I feel like this mini series should have really been the main plot and the main thing. So all in all, in terms of plot, it's just like, hey, we're in the Wayne Manor, let's take a photo, and literally that they are taking a photo of all of themselves. Batman says cheese. It's a great throwback. I can appreciate that. Of course, we got the photo falling down. You got the same art over here, and Batman is smiling. So that was quite a nice feeling. And of course, at the very end, you've got a beautiful rogues gallery and the Batman family, fantastic art. So those are the short stories over here in the comic book. We do still have one more story, and this it starts here, and this is the proper Detective Comics 1000, and this is the issue that puts the story from 999 to 1001, and this is a story of, well, the slow appearance, right? We got a lot of throwbacks. So we've got what Batman did. We got a battle with Two-Face. We've got a fantastic battles with Bane, with the League, the Court of Owls, right? Sorry, that's the Court of Owls. That is, honestly, if they would just do this last thing, right? Just a regular issue, I would love it so much, because literally every single page is action-packed. It's like you got a throwback to the first appearance of Joker, you've got, throwback to Bane, you've got a throwback to Court of Owls, you've got a throwback to so many things, and Poison Ivy. It's great, and it's got narrated by a person that clearly hates Batman, that clearly doesn't like Batman. You know that he is going to be a villain, and at the very end you finally know what it is. So the last page, it is medieval for the Batman 1001. Beautiful ending to a honestly mediocre issue of Batman 1000. Again, for me, if they would leave only the last bit, which should be, which is the proper book, I would love it, and it would be great. Again, many stories super bad, and I hate to be that guy sometimes, but they were just not fitting. Like, I don't like 2-page stories that they don't make any sense, that they don't work. They're just there to fill, because that's how it felt. They're just there to fill the space so that you can get to 94 pages. That would work with all of it, right? So that is like the main sense and the main focus, which is quite bad when you ask me. And it's not one of those things that should have been done, especially in the book like that. So have you read this? I hope you've read and you have your own opinion as well, that you will share down there below, because mine, if I would have to rate it, and I think I'm going to be rating those books as well over here, going in depth with them, I think my rating is honestly a mediocre 5 out of 10. Like, the ending and beginning, really good. Middle, I think maybe they wanted to remind me of like really bad times in the 90s. I don't know. I'm just like joking, but like, just bad. And they could have done so much more with the story, and they just didn't. I felt like, honestly, when I was purchasing it, I did feel like it's going to be a nice long 60-page story, or maybe 2 split into 30, and then we're gonna have the proper issue. Unfortunately, not. So that is what I think about Detective Comics 1000. Those are my thoughts. I don't know how I'm gonna call this series. I don't know yet how I'm gonna call it. What's gonna be the series? Probably just a Friday with a comic book, right? Or Comic Book Friday, and we're just gonna talk about the specific issues, or the specific series, or maybe just we're going to talk about, the trade paperbacks, or like, oriented, comic book stuff. In terms of like, are we going to be doing death metal or metal? Slowly, yes, but as it appears in my country, and I still have a lot to catch up on, because I was kind of like slacking off. Like, right now I'm going through Thor, so that is like a priority right now for me. I still have to finish the Aquaman, so we're probably going to have this Aquaman talk as well, which I hope you're going to enjoy that type of series, because not only we're going to be doing that, but also weekly we're going to do two videos of news, one gaming in particular, and the other one a comic book related, and hopefully that's going to be our new thing. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'm waiting for what you have to say about this, about Batman 1000, Detective Comics 1000. Let me know in the comment section down there below. I want to read your opinion on that as well, as you probably went through mine, right? So thank you guys so much. Goodbye, good night, have a fantastic rest of the day.